So I'll just get started. So thank you for everybody coming today, and I'll be speaking about Climate Solutions Society. So first, I'll start off with why I even started Climate Solutions Society. And the reason for this was because a lot of teens don't know what they want to do about climate change, and they don't have the access to the right sort resources, but they do want to do something about climate change. They just don't know how to get started. So what Climate Solution Society is, it's basically a NGO or nonprofit that where we are trying to enable teens to leverage technology for environmental solutions. And there's two ways to get involved. Now, there's testing already made environmental solutions and creating your own innovation. The testing environmental solutions part is basically a volunteer activity where they can come and help basically deploy, for example, or help just do testing for somebody else's environmental solution that's already been created. This way, they can get exposed to the environment, other environmental solutions to see what they're truly specifically passionate about and what they really care about. The other way to get involved is to create your actual innovation. So basically, you would be able to develop your own solution with the support from our mentors and with the helpful resources and access to the climate solutions technology platform. Usually, we encourage to start with the volunteer activities first because that way you can specifically find maybe a problem that you care about the most, and that way you're not jumping straight into solution. But of course, if someone really wants to jump straight into creating a solution, we're open to that. And my mission statement is that Climate Solution Society was created to provide a very targeted educational platform that makes it easy to rapidly deploy solutions. You can see this is about 1, 2 years ago. And then I continued to develop, receiving numerous awards, and that's when I founded sensoryai.com in 2021. That's the company um, for my wildfire entire detection solution. And in 2022, the Irvine Ranch Conservancy, which is an environmental nonprofit, invested in Sensor AI, my company. And then currently, the Orange County Fire Authority is actually engaged and is actually currently testing it. And in 2023, I became a UNESCO Learning Planet Youth Fellow, and that's when I founded Climate Solution Society, which is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. And then I've also received a grant from the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network to fund its mission and growth. So, the main pain or problem is that climate change is only going to accelerate, and it's actually increasing the climate anxiety in teenagers and young adults. So natural disasters have actually increased by fivefold or 500% in the past 50 years. And if we look at this graph on the right, this is basically showing a global survey that was taken of teenagers and young adults about climate anxiety and their impact on functioning. You can see all the color coordination on the top and all these bars. And I'll just give you a quick summary. Basically, 75% of young people are afraid for the future as climate anxiety continues to increase. And about 84% of teens believe that climate change needs to be addressed and they want to actually be part of the solution. However, the disconnect is that while there's a very high percentage of young people that are concerned, there's a very small percentage that are developing solutions that have had a major impact. So we believe the reason is existing educational paradigms are inaccurate, which I'll go into more in a further uh, slide in the future. So the opportunity that I'd be providing is to create a targeted educational platform that's actually appealing and accessible to all teenagers and enables them to take tangible action. So here's a bit more about the volunteering aspect of Climate Solution Society. So During the volunteer section, they would be able to help with the testing and gathering of data for environmental solutions that have been developed using the Climate Solution Society platform. So, for example, the Orange County Fire Authority has decided to deploy well, the sensor AI wildfire solution across high-risk areas in Orange County. But prior to deployment, the platform needs a lot of additional testing across the various locations. So I need significant data collection as it's required to assist with the training of my AI model. I was doing some testing again to get that data for the AI models. And these are one set of kids from one of the chapters. I'll go more about that in the future as well, where they came to actually help and volunteer with me. And then they got not only some good amount of volunteer hours for their school, but they also got some invaluable information and experience. The second option is actual solution development. So, Climate Solution Society offers educational models with a medium level of detail. I'll go more on about that, and an emphasis on actually building something quickly. And it's important to note that we're not here to just try and enable teens to get a technology degree. We want to help them learn as efficiently as possible and as efficiently as needed to build what they want to build. We want to keep it results oriented and rapid prototyping to keep teens engaged and excited. So I actually have two examples of this working right now. I have one kid working on early landslide detection. He's creating a solution towards that, and another which is for ocean pollution monitoring. So this is what I was talking about which is about the challenges with existing technology educational resources. So a lot of the information is either too shallow or too deep. When it's so information that's too shallow, for example, there's a lot of resources like YouTube videos or YouTube shorts that are overly simplified. And specifically while developing a solution, from my experience, I can tell that it's really difficult to work with information like that because it just doesn't give you enough to really solve the problem you're looking for. So you don't know if what you're doing is truly right. You kind of have to infer on the solution. Or there's information that's too deep, which is like you search up a simple question, or maybe not super simple, but it gives you results for like an entire science textbook or after school programs and coding camps, which much of the material taught can be redundant and irrelevant to a particular environmental project being targeted, and it also requires extensive time and financial investment. And this is something that I've experienced while I was developing Sensor AI. Like, for example, I was forced to take a boot camp to learn specific information that I needed while developing my solution. And then it was like a 6 week long course, and I used maybe 1 week of those 6 weeks of information. So, as you can see on the right here, this is kind of just a graph showing the complexity of explanation versus the understanding of the subject matter. And it has a parabolic growth where basically if it's too shallow or too deep, the individual learns almost the exact same information, which is near nothing. So Climate Solution Society, the idea of it is to try and find that sweet spot in the middle. So this is how Climate Solution Society meets the need. We want to focus on the problem and then move backwards and learn the minimum technology elements needed to develop a solution. While the traditional approach usually takes around 6 months and can be pretty expensive, there's a lot of cumbersome, expensive coding slash hardware classes, and usually teenagers are not interested or don't want to spend the money for something like that. The CSS approach is to take 6 weeks with minimal cost, and we basically help them learn just enough Python and tweak existing climate solution software libraries and learn enough Raspberry Pi to tweak the Climate Solution Society hardware platform to add the desired sensors and create the desired network of solutions. And as I said, I actually have multiple new environmental projects that have been successfully kicked off. Those two are the current ones that have advanced so far, and then I also have a couple of other students that are working on starting developing solutions. So there's three very targeted modules with a medium level of detail and an emphasis on engagement. The first is the Python programming that happens on the Raspberry Pi. This provides just the right amount of knowledge to effectively capture and analyze data, as well as access the ready-made software libraries to make it much easier to get started. The next is the Raspberry Pi based environmental hub. This is basically where the chapters will receive a Raspberry Pi based environmental system that has wireless connectivity and multiple sensors already attached, as well as the ability to add additional sensors and solar panels. And then there's the artificial aspect, which kind of comes along further down the road. But basically, we would provide specialized mentorship around how to capture and analyze on the right on the bottom. This is just a basic base version of the box. And here are just some other application examples that can be built leveraging the Climate Solution Society. There could be air pollution monitoring, toxic gas monitoring, water monitoring. Um, of course, it's not just limited to this. If there's a specific environmental problem that you feel you care about the most and it's not being mentioned here and you really want to develop a solution to that, of course, that's great. It's not limited to this, of course. So this is the team member on structure currently. Newport Harbor High School is the high school I go to, and that's basically where the founding chapter and executive chapter for Climate Solution Society is. Um, I'm the president of the chapter in Newport Harbor High School, and then London is our vice president of operations, and Kimberly is the vice president of marketing. And then on the bottom here, you can just see 5 example high schools. It's 5 out of the current 9 chapters that we have in high schools. And then you could just see the different schools that are listed. And I've created a chapter in these high schools, and the students are really motivated to get involved and promote across the respective schools. And the regional youth outreach. So I've engaged in educational organizations around the Orange County in California. There's the Irvine Ranch Conservancy, as I spoke about earlier. There's the Delhi Center, which is helping create opportunities for youth. And then there's the Global Youth Outreach, which is basically I've made a presentation about climate solutions at the UN General Assembly in New York in September. And yeah. And then this is the competition. People would propose any environmental solution or project that's based on the Climate Solution Society tech platform. So basically, you would explain what solution you're trying to solve and how you would implement our hardware and software to basically develop that solution. It would kind of just be a blueprint. Obviously, you don't have to create an entire solution and then upload it, because the whole point of Climate Solution Society is we want to help you do that. The contest is going to begin in November of 2024 and close in April of 2025, and then the winners would be announced in May of 2025, and the final award ceremony would be held in May of 2025 in Newport Harbor High School, which is kind of the starting high school, and the winners, or the top 3, would be provided with a lot of media coverage. Now, I understand that since this is a global competition, if someone from like the other side of the country ends up winning, they don't want to come all the way across the country. Since this is centered in California, they don't want to come all the way across the country for this. That's okay. There's going to be accommodations virtually for situations like that. The competition is open to students in grades 9 to 12, which is basically high school. And then the winners would be chosen by a panel of distinguished judges, and it would be a $5,000 prize pool. And just this competition is between grades 9 to 12, but For any individual that might be in 8th grade or in 7th grade or anything like that, they're still open to join Climate Solution Society as a whole. And then here's some of my contact information. This is the website for Climate Solution Society. This is my tag on all social media sites. This is my email. Of course, if you wanted to talk to me and want something specifically, maybe my LinkedIn or something like that, I can obviously specifically put that in chat. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening. And then if anybody has any questions, they could just type them in chat. I'm open to answer any questions. And yeah, thank you again. Yeah, so of course, Maggie, I believe that's how you say your name. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. But the data gathered would be specifically used for my artificial intelligence model. I think you're saying like the data gathered in the field. The reason we're gathering data is because we want to train the artificial intelligence models, um, because we want to make them as accurate as possible. And then if it's other data, such as like if you want to test how far the system can reach or something like that, then it would just be like numbers on a presentation. But if you're talking about the data gathered from the tech, like from all the tests that I'd be doing in the environment, those will just be fed straight into the artificial intelligence models. It might be different for if someone wanted to do their own test, like while they were creating a solution with Climate Solution Society, their data might be used in a different way because artificial intelligence is kind of further down the road. It took me like a couple of years to even start with artificial intelligence. Um, but they could be provided in an Excel format in someone else's scenario. And yeah, if anyone else has any questions, you could just type them in chat. I'd be happy to answer them. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I don't want to butcher it, but I can definitely answer your question. So of course, anyone is open to join Climate Solution Society. Um, Less knowledge of tech, of course, that's fine. We'd be able to provide with mentorship to learn however much tech would be needed to develop your solutions, and we will be able to do so as efficiently and quickly as possible. So yeah, of course, someone from a business background, of course, can definitely join, and we'd be able to provide you with mentorship for whatever type of tech you would need, depending on whatever type of solution you would try or want to create. Yeah, of course. Thank you for your question.